What's up, y'all? This is Carla, aka Seela the Poet, and I'm doing a quick clip. So we'll start off with scripture. He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds, and that's Psalm 14, 7, verse 3. The second scripture is Psalm 41. Even my close friend, whom I trusted, he who shared my bread, has lifted up his heel against me, and that's Psalm 41, verse 9. Okay? John 11, verse 35, Jesus wept. And John 1, verse 11, he came that which was his own. He came to that which was his own, but his own did not receive him. So I just wanted to give those scriptures as kind of a backdrop because lately I've been talking about my experience as a domestic violence survivor. Jesus knows what it's like to be an outcast, to be rejected by family, by the religious establishment. And, that's what abusive people go through. They go through a form of persecution. They go through people disrespecting them, insulting them, falsely accusing them, and they go through just a lot of drama. And I'm someone who survived all of that. I've been through different types of abuse. I've been through child abuse. I've been through abuse by proxy, when you have not just one abuser, but a whole bunch of abusers that kind of come together and try to attack you. Or I've been through a slander campaign where people try to destroy your reputation. I've been through family, abuse. I've been through domestic violence abuse with my ex-husband, which is intimate partner abuse. And I have been a witness to elder abuse, which is what my grandmother suffered at the hands of my mom before she died. So these are just different experiences I went through, and I'll be talking about it later in my other videos. I'm going to read you an excerpt from my diary. I actually ended up documenting what was happening to me. I have a whole bunch of notebooks where I wrote down incidents, and I found these notebooks and I'm just reading them, and I'm just like, wow, I actually documented my experiences without even really knowing exactly what I was going through and the extent of it. So February 12th, 2009 says, I should have never made a vow to my child's father before God. What was I thinking? He's a mean, nasty, and wicked soul when he can't get what he wants. He just sent me a text message calling me a whore and my parents a couple of swingers. I can't believe I loved this man and I gave him my heart, loved him body and soul, and he hates me. You don't treat someone you love like shit or mistreat them constantly. There's no respect, no love, no common courtesy. He's still emotionally abusive, but I stand up for myself and I'm learning to fight back, learning to be strong, but it still hurts inside. Sometimes I'm afraid something bad will happen, or I'll die if I divorce him. When you make a vow before God, you can't take it lightly. God knows I don't want to break a vow, but I made some seriously heavy vows to the wrong person. He is destructive, bitter, angry, and I don't want me and my kids to be hurt or abused. It's not even about the grass being greener if I stay with him. I'll die spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and maybe at the hands of his anger. I can't go back. I won't go back. It would be like a death sentence. I gotta be strong for my babies, for me, and for God. Wow. So this really brought me back, to what I was going through at that time. I have a whole bunch of documents and notebooks, with incidents. I have police reports. I have court papers. I have everything that had to do with the domestic violence I went through. I have evidence of all of it. And, if you ask my relatives today or you ask them, they'll deny that they did anything, but I have evidences that says otherwise. And it's deep how every year I remember the different anniversaries that have to do with and surround my domestic violence. I remember the day that I left my mother's house after she assaulted me, and I moved out into hiding with my kids. I remember the day that I moved into a domestic violence shelter. I remember the day when I had to go and get my first order of protection against my ex-husband. I remember the day when I ended up receiving court paperwork from my mother and my sisters, putting in an order of protection against me after I had already did that to them. They did that to as a countermeasure to try to cancel mine. Abusive people will sometimes use the same systems that are meant to help domestic violence victims to get revenge on domestic violence victims. They will misuse the system. And that's what my mother and my sisters and my ex tried to do. They did misuse the system. I was falsely accused at one time of abusive behavior, even though I was the victim and I had proof that I was the victim. The system is not always perfect, and it depends on the judge that sees your case. There are some judges that don't know anything about domestic violence, and then there are some judges who are sexist, misogynistic, and they will put the verdict in favor of the man. There are some judges that are racist. So if the judge doesn't like the race of people he's dealing with or she's dealing with, then they'll give unfavorable verdicts, or verdicts that they don't realize how it will affect the children and the victim's life. And ACS, as much as we'd like to believe that Child Protective Services, is an organization that will protect children, ACS, some of the workers, they don't even know how serious domestic violence is. For some of those people, it's just a paycheck. And they, will write false notes. They will just do different things that, that doesn't help to protect the child. And I've been through all of that. I could speak about every experience that I've had, and, the same systems that are meant to help victims can sometimes be used to punish victims by abusive people. And the systems aren't always that compassionate depending on the type of people that are working in those systems. And you may encounter different types of people, different types of personalities. But one thing I can say is that I'm talking today from a place of power. Last time I was kind of in my feelings and I was sad and kind of down, but I'm realizing that God has brought me a long way. I wouldn't be able to sit here and talk about my experience if God hadn't given me a second chance. And if God could do it for me, he could do it for anyone else that's going through abuse, whether it's emotional, physical, spiritual, or mental. There are, you have to know your worth. You have worth because God created you. And if you don't know your worth, some people will accept behavior that's unacceptable. And you just have to learn how to stand up and say, no, enough is enough. So, those are my thoughts for today. And, I'll be posting another video soon. But all I can say for now is God bless and peace.